everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this week's technique is super simple and so effective. We've used 3 yarns for this swatch, which is the viscose blend, Abigail, I Hate Mondays viscose 2 ends, and the cotton tape, my favorite, although I think the Abigail's my favorite as well, so certainly can't pick. Anyway, so like everything else, you can make just little changes to receive a completely different outcome, and I do encourage you to try different things rather than just following my swatches. So if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoy this. Okay, so I've gone ahead and casted on 40 needles and knitted a few rows in the Abigail yarn. Okay, so this is available on my website along with the other 2 yarns I will be using today. So go ahead and grab a single prong transfer tool, and we're going to start off by doing some transfer work. So start off by taking the second needle or the stitch and moving it over to your right, and then leaving one, transferring the next one over to your right, and just do a transfer on every other needle, and we're transferring it to our right hand side. Okay, so the layout that you will be left with is 1 needle working, 1 out of position or non-working position. Okay, so just go ahead and transfer every other stitch over to your right or to your left, and move those empty needles all the way to the back of the bed, and all of your working needles all the way forward, so it's easier for the carriage to move across. So my tension is 5 for the Abigail. I'm going to go ahead and knit 1 row. Okay, and what we're going to do now is transfer every other needle again. So I'm going to take the second needle and move it over to my right, and then take the next needle and move it over to my right. So you're doing every other on this layout as well. So go ahead and also push the empty needles all the way to the back of the bed into non-working position. And then push all of your working needles all the way forward and knit 1 row in the same yarn. Okay, so we're going to swap over to the tape yarn. The tape that I'm using is mercerized cotton in teal, and the tension I'll be using for this yarn is going to be on 6. You should be able to get away with tension 5 as well, but I'll just use 6. Okay, so what we're going to do now is push the center needle of the 3 non-working needles all the way forward. Okay, so the sets of 3 that we've got in non-working position, which is right at the back of the bed, we're going to go ahead and push the center needle of those 3 all the way forward into working position, and we are now going to knit 2 rows in that. And we're now going to knit 2 rows in the tape yarn, just like so. Okay, and now we're going to push all of our non-working needles into working position. So all of our needles are now going to knit. We're going to swap our yarns over to the metallic viscose, which is I Hate Mondays on my website, and I'll be using 2 ends of this yarn. My tension for this yarn is going to be on tension 4, and I'm going to knit 2 rows. So this is what the pattern is currently looking like. Now from here on, it's just a repeat. Okay, we start off by a transfer work in the Abigail, and then transfer again and knit in tape, and then push all into working position and knit in the metallic viscose. It's just so simple, but the swatch is so effective because of the choice of yarns and the simple layout. So all I'm going to do now is repeat the pattern once more. Okay, so start off by transferring every other needle over to your right or to your left. So I like to transfer mine over to the right, but it really doesn't matter which way you go. Go ahead and push all of your working needles all the way forward and all of your non-working needles out of work. Change your yarn back to the Abigail, and the tension is 5. Knit 1. Go ahead and transfer every other needle over to your right again, and move all of your empty needles out of work, so all the way to the back of the bed in non-working position. Make sure all of your needles are pushed forward that are currently knitting, and knit 1 row. Go ahead and push the center needle of the sets of 3 that are not working all the way forward into working position. Change your yarn to the cotton tape and knit 2 rows. Go ahead and change your yarn back to the metallic viscose and tension on 4. Push all of your working needles forward, including the non-working needles. So all of your needles are knitting, and knit 2 rows. So that's what the pattern is currently looking like. You can of course make quite a few changes, starting with the needles that you do your transfer work when you get to the slightly bigger hole, okay? So when you do the transfer before knitting in the tape yarn, you can do it in a completely different position. So we've done it in the same position every time, but you can actually alternate it. And you can change the yarns as always. Just remember to use your thick and thin and all similar weights to what I'm using, just so it's slightly similar to what I've just shown you. The outcome will always be different depending on the changes you make, so do experiment further. Right, okay, so if you do have any questions, just let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was really simple but so effective. Follow me on Instagram and have a look at what else I'm up to, because there's a lot of tips and quick knit tutorials coming up there. Right, I'll see you next week. Bye.